I utilized that equity to invest in my first multifamily deal, which was 168 units. My mind started opening up. Start creating a little money tree. Start creating your different, streams of income.
Greetings, well builders. Welcome to Get Diversified, your go-to podcast for all things real estate investments.
I'm Jacqueline.
Melvin Landry. We're thrilled to embark on this wealth building journey with you.
Imagine this. What if your investments not only secure your future, but also unlock a life of financial freedom? That's what we're diving into on this show. Apartment buildings, storage facilities, mobile home parks, the whole shebang.
But here's the kicker. It's not just about investing. It's about crafting a legacy, building memories with your loved ones, and seizing every moment. Time is the currency of life. And let's be real, none of us wants to waste.
We've got the insights, experience, and dash of excitement to spice up your investing game. Plus, we'll throw in some real-life stories that'll make you see the potential in every brick and mortar.
Subscribe, buckle up, and get ready to turn your investments into the ticket to financial freedom. Together, we're not just building wealth, we're building the community of savvy investors. Let's get diversified.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Get Diversified. My name is Jacqueline Landry, and I am your host today, featuring this phenomenal woman here with me, Shirley Baez. And I want to introduce her a little bit, and then I'm going to hand it over to her to give us some more details. So Shirley is a retired veteran turned multifamily investor. So Shirley, welcome to the show, and tell the audience a little bit about, your background.
Awesome. Well, good morning, Jackie. Thank you so much for having me on your awesome show. I know it's been a little bit since we tried to connect, but finally we're here. And I'm definitely happy to pour into your community. So like Jackie said, I'm a 20-year Army veteran, retired. I lived in North Carolina for the better part of 20 years, where I was stationed at. And on November 2021 is when I was getting ready to retire out of the military. And of course, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up. I've been doing this career for more than 20 years. And so, trying to transition out and retire, I was trying to find other ways of like redefining myself and really finding things that I truly love now that I finished serving my country. And so I've always been interested in investing. So as a young soldier, I was very cognizant about traditional investing because, I grew up in the inner city of New York, not really having a lot of resources, but always knowing in my mind that I wanted more and that I was made for more and that I wanted to live this ideal life and create it on my terms, right? The military, of course, helped me put together those building blocks to be disciplined and having a good baseline to start creating that. And so at the end of 2021, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, go to corporate, start a business, but I still wanted to invest because I had these funds that I had there. I wanted to start mobilizing it. And so I came across a business boot camp by Grant Cardone. And I always say that he's kind of the rite of passage for a lot of people that start off in this industry. And I attended that. It was a 3-day boot camp. It was virtual. And I was very impressed. The people that I heard speak there and the delivery of his message and the things that he was doing really spoke to the interests of what I wanted to do in the future. And so that really resonated with me. And I went all in with him. I got his, I got his training, started doing that, started learning about real estate, then this fabulous thing called multifamily. At the time, I was also getting ready to transition out of my home. Like I wanted to live somewhere else. I'm retired. I wanted to see palm trees. I wanted to be by the beach. I'm like, hey, what a better way to do than live in Florida. This is a state that's really great with veterans. And this is where I wanted to be. And so his real estate summits are also held here in Florida, in Miami. And so I was like, well, that's great. That also coincides with my my vision and my plans. And so I went ahead and after November, I was thinking, well, I'm leaving here. I wanted to, sell my house. I don't want the burden of a house. I'm just going to take the profits and move on. So I had a talk with my parents, and they said, my goodness, your home is at a great location. You have revolving soldiers coming in, so you're never going to not have a tenant. Why don't you just keep the house, rent it out, and live off the passive income? It's not much, but it's something, right?
So what was your reaction to that?
I was like, oh my God, well, I don't want the burden. Like, I didn't know how to manage that. I had no clue, right? I just thought it was this big burdensome task that I could not, be able to handle. And I got lucky at that time because one of my army buddies, his wife was a real estate agent. And she reached out to me and she's like, look, your house is very valuable. If you don't want it, I'll buy it. And then that made me think, because after she explained to me like the value of the house and like the potential, I was like, oh no. And then the location, of course, great location, right? Like 15 minutes from the base, very convenient for soldiers. And so I started thinking, and even talking to my parents, remembering what they were telling me about the passive income, and then what my real estate agent friend was telling me. I was like, well, let's explore this. How much would I be able to make, a month or whatnot? We did the numbers. I was like, okay, this is good, because mind you, I was still retiring in transition. I didn't have a job. So I didn't know what the future held, right? This is kind of really my first stream of income that I can maybe rely on after I left, because I didn't know if I was going to get a job. And we went ahead and, at the time, as you know, the rates were rising rapidly, right? So I had to really make an executive decision right then and there. I took the leap of faith. I'm like, you know what? I'll keep the house, because my stepmom was like, hey, if you don't like Florida, you can always come back to North Carolina. You love North Carolina and you have a home, and that's it. I'm like, you know what? You got a point. And so I went ahead, and everything just kind of happened quickly, but I knew that I saw now potential. Like, my mind started opening up. And so I went and I had an inspector go in the house and appraise it and all of that. In my house, from when I bought it in 2004, 2006 to like 2021, it doubled in value.
Wow.
Right? And I was like, oh my God, this little house that I bought for like a great price, now it's like double. All right. So now what do I do? Okay, I'm going to rent it out, getting ready to leave North Carolina. I started attending, like I said, the boot camps with Grant Cardone's, and then that also transferred me to attend Clubhouse. The Clubhouse is an app where a lot of like-minded people go in and pour into each other, pour value to one another. And I started listening to this guy called Tony Glenn. He's a retired U.S. Marine guy. He actually now is partnered up with Grant Cardone, but he's really great on the VA loan, the Veterans Assistance Loan, for the military, for soldiers that want to either invest or, buy a home. And he understood how to utilize that program for you to start investing as a young soldier. And so he mentioned something in one of his sessions about cash out refi. I'm like, what is cash out refi?
Yeah. A lot of people don't even know what that means, and it doesn't even cross their mind. They're just like you were, right? And I was the same way. Oh, I need to sell this house so that I could get the profit and I could go buy another one. Cash out refi, I didn't know what that meant either. So yeah, tell the audience what that means and why you would do that.
Yeah, so basically the cash out refinance is just refinancing your home, right? It's like going in, taking the equity, because you're allowed to take at least, I think, 80% of the equity of the home, right? For you to do whatever it is that you want to do, whether you want to do some refurbishing, you want to take a trip, want to go on vacation, want to invest. That was the key word that I heard when he said that. You're starting the loan again, but what I started to understand is that, hey, I can utilize this asset as my piggy bank. I don't necessarily have to pay off the debt. I'm going to leverage the debt. And so that's when that's when the aha moment came in, okay, I'm going to refinance this home, I'm going to start all over, but I can take the equity and I can sell at whatever moment's notice, whenever I want, but I can utilize the equity to use it for other opportunities that I had in mind. And
so quick question for you on that. Was your payment more money or less money?
So it wasn't a lot of difference, actually, because I looked at that as well, because that's one of the cons, right? The pros and the cons. One of the cons is that your payments are going to go up a little bit, but you also have to look at the market and the interest rates, how they were doing at that time. At that time on my home, I was paying a 3.5 for my mortgage. At the end of 2021, it was going up really quick. So I had to make a decision. So I think at the end, I ended up like a 4.5, almost 5.
Okay.
So it wasn't too much of a difference in payment, because I did the numbers and I looked at the difference, how much I'm going to be paying versus the profits that I'm going to be making. And it wasn't as bad. But for some, if you see a really big gap, that's something that you have to consider or have to wait until interest rates kind of subside a little bit. So that's something to think about. So you have to do your homework. So at the time, interest rates were good. Numbers made sense. I can actually refinance my home and utilize the equity. And so when I did that, it just opened up the floodgates to a lot of projects that I started doing, right? Because now I'm going into the real estate summit. So November, December, Grant Cardone usually launches his December real estate summit. I attended that, and then I started getting more knowledgeable and speaking to people about my plans to refinance and do this, do that. It was like my mind just blew, right? And so I knew that I was making the right decision, looking into the future and seeing the potential ROI for this. And then also, hey, what about now wanting to go into multifamily investing? How does that look like, right? At first, I was so scared, because obviously it's the same thing that everybody thinks about. Oh, you need all this money to go into it, right? Not understanding that.
Yeah. I know that when I mention multifamily, or I mention a purchase of a $20 million building, people look at me like,
yes,
$20 million? You have $20 million? And I'm like, no, I don't have $20 million. And if I did have $20 million, no way would I put it into one building myself. Because that's not what you shouldn't use your own cash. You should use others, get other investors in. But yeah, exactly it.
Yeah. And so then I understood how to play the game in, as I started, like you said, it's not you putting the whole 20 million. It's a group of investors that come together, put a business plan together, right? Seeing the ROI that you can get potentially from that property. And then you all invest a piece to get a piece of that asset. And so when I understood that and knew that I didn't need to be rich, I needed all of this, and then I had the potential of this equity coming into my account, hey, let's do it. Let's make the money make babies. That's how I see that. Let's have the money make babies, And so, I utilize, the good thing is that I utilize the equity. When that money came into my account, I did several things. I went ahead and did some refurbishing for my home to make it now suitable for other people that want to live in my home, that are transitioning service members as well, or being stationed there. And I tell you, in a matter, I didn't even move out of the house and I already had tenants. Right off the back. And so I utilized that equity to invest in my first multifamily deal, which was 168 units in, I believe, the Houston, Texas area. And I invested with other veterans, which is great because that is the community that I know, right? And so to start off with, what a better way to invest with other veterans that are already, acing the game, and understanding how to build generational wealth. And so that made me feel really comfortable in doing that. Then, I started getting the itch of becoming a multifamily junkie, right? And so I started immersing myself in the communities, in the women's circles with you and other awesome women that are making moves, that are actually making moves in the space, and that want to learn and want to help each other grow. Because to me, as I see this, as I'm being exposed to other people, there's no lack out there. There's just a lack of creativity and vision. Because if you know how to plan your stuff and you know where to find the information, trust me, you'll be able to make some moves. And so I was also then introduced to these awesome investment opportunities in the Dominican Republic, which is booming right now. They're creating a lot of great projects out there, resort style type of apartment complex that are in very exclusive areas. And a lot of foreigners, specifically here from the United States, are investing over there. And so then I utilized some of my funds to invest in an apartment complex there, which now I own one apartment there. Guess what? Now, the apartment is right there, 1 minute from the beach, next to awesome amenities, golf courses, really awesome. Now I can turn that into a short-term rental, and
you get more cash flow coming in.
Cash flow. So now I'm, my mind is opening up. Hey, start creating your little money tree. Start creating your different, streams of income. And, obviously you're not going to see it from one day to another, but you can see 3 to 5 years down the road, because that's how long usually they hold a multifamily asset, right?
Yes. So Shirley, could you imagine having 25 of these short-term rentals?
Oh my goodness.
Game over.
Game over. That's it. I'm good.
Game over.
Because my plan is to transition gracefully from my corporate job. I mean, I'm an independent contractor, but everybody wants to live life on their own terms. At least us, that we think into the future and think about, hey, I want my time back. I want options. I want to travel. I want to enjoy the finer things in life, while also, being creative at generating, wealth for me and my family, and also helping others. And so, because at the end, I want to do some philanthropy work as well. And I know that the steps that I'm making right now with multifamily and short-term rentals, and overall investing in hard assets that you can actually touch and you can actually tangibly see returns on investment. I'm already receiving distributions from my first deal, from my second deal, because that's something that I also failed to mention. The funds also enabled me to invest in other deals. Yeah.
The one thing I like is, a few things I want to go back to what you said is, the lack of knowledge. And I think that's it, right? So many people think, I got to learn all of this stuff related to multifamily. How do you find the deals? How do I find the debt or somebody to finance it? How do I run a property? I don't know all that stuff. And you don't. You don't need to know all that. You just need to know a piece of it, and enough about it that you can trust Shirley, or you could trust Jackie, that is a part of the general partnership team, to say, I trust you. I want to invest in your deal because I know Jackie and Shirley. I know what you guys know what you're talking about. So lack of knowledge, people think they all need to do it themselves, and that's not the case.
Well,
absolutely
not at all. I mean, the reason why I love this space is because it reminds me of the military in some sorts, because we all do everything as a team. I'm used to, as a soldier, we're a team. You never leave a soldier behind. You're always checking your six. I'm talking military lingo here. It's to say that we are stronger together. And in this space, it's the same thing. That's why, to your point, Jackie, when you say you don't have to know everything, You just have to be in the right group that everybody has a specialty. They are subject matter experts on different areas of the puzzle pieces that when you come and put them together, it works. It works. You have people that are great at underwriting. You have people that are great with debt and speaking to brokers, doing due diligence, going and walking a property and identifying things. Like, you don't have to know everything, and it doesn't have to be overwhelming. But what you do need to do and know is that, coaching, masterminds, and also attending these communities to be in the know, because you still have to stay, you still got to stay with the times, right? Because you're also looking at the markets as well, and how the real estate industry is doing overall. So at the end of the day, as human beings, we're made to evolve. We are always constantly learning and growing. So that's just part of it. That's part of the journey. And that's what I love, because I love teamwork and I love growing and learning. And so I'm in my happy place.
And one thing I love that you're doing is you're not strictly multifamily, right? So a lot of people think that, if I invest in a $50,000 or $100,000 in a multifamily deal, I could quit my W-2. And that's not the case. You can't quit your W-2 or your contractor job until you have cash flow that replaces your income. So you're thinking about both aspects of it, which is really great, because a lot of people throw tons and tons of money into multifamily thinking that they can live off possibly those cash flows from the multifamily distributions. So Shirley, as you know, we're in 16 deals, over 2,900 doors. And, I write about this in chapter 2 of Rewire. But the cash distributions on that barely pay my Costco bill.
Yeah.
And so some of them are not cash flowing. It's not something that you're going to have every month, like a short-term rental, by 15 minutes from the base. That's going to be rented. That your rent is coming in. You have people that are competent, people that are going to pay that are actually going to pay their rent. Right. So it's a constant. You don't have to worry about, am I going to get my rent at the end of the month? And we think the similar way from you is we love Section 8 programs. So all of our rentals that we have, we're bringing in Section 8 vouchers. And number one, we love to be able to help our community, and we don't have to wonder where the check is. And we're also looking at, my husband actually just showed one of our units to a veteran, so that we can start getting into that program too. But we love the programs, number one, because they're helping people.
Yes.
We're giving people a nice place to live. And it takes away the risk of, are we going to get the rent at the end of the month? And one other thing that we're doing, which is something for you to kind of think about, we have somebody that reached out to us saying, hey, I have to get out of my house. And she's in a abusive relationship. So she's part of a women's abusive fund or whatever. And they're actually going to pay her rent and get her out of her bad situation. So that is so along the line of helping women and helping them get out of the bad situation that they're in.
Wow.
So there's so many different programs that you can think about, or that we can think about being women, and who we decide we want to rent to.
Absolutely. And that's what I love about this space, is that you can get as creative as possible. Definitely. There's no cookie cutter way. Like, you don't have to strictly be multifamily, because like you said, even though I'm getting a distribution from one asset, my other asset hasn't distributed anything yet. And that's the first one that I've invested in, because they're still stabilizing the property and they're following their business plan. So, you have to stay still proactive. It's a building block. You're building your castle, right? You just don't stay stagnant thinking that you're just going to make money out of one asset. You have to be able to diversify and start looking for other ways. Those government programs are great, because that they are going to to produce, right? And you're also helping your community, which is an added bonus. And I've always told you, Jackie, that is so commendable, because not only are you building your generational wealth, but you're also actually helping people that are in need or in vulnerable situations. So that is wonderful. And like I said to people, look, you just don't stay stuck in one area of real estate. You're constantly evolving and learning, because, Jackie is doing a slew of different programs but they all have to do with real estate. I'm also doing other things. I'm also getting ready to leverage my VA loan, and you actually could do that. You actually can buy a small triplex or fourplex with your VA loan, no money down. That's a guaranteed loan, no money down. You can live in the property. You have to live in the property for at least 12 months, and then you can rent it out, do it again, and do it again, and do it again. And you're augmenting like that, with a loan to veterans that is no money down, like I said, and it's guaranteed. So there's just so many creative ways, and it's just about being out there, wanting to get it, wanting to really build your future, and get in with the right groups. So I've learned so much throughout these 2 years. So
I know sometimes you look back. So I was at a goal setting session a few weeks ago, and they're like, "Oh, what were your successes?" And in 2023, and I was like, I don't know. And then I started writing them down. I said, holy cow,
wow.
I actually achieved something in 2023, but sometimes you're just moving so fast that you don't stop
Yeah.
to celebrate those successes that you have. So probably every quarter you should stop, Shirley. I should stop, right? And we should say, hey, what did we accomplish? What relationship did we build? What lesson did we learn? Whatever it is, but just kind of stop and think about what it is that we've accomplished, because we do so much. So, wow, what an amazing story. So what's next for Shirley?
Oh my God, what's woo, there's just so many things.
Okay, top three.
Okay. So I collaborated with Brooke Ceballos Pinheiro. We both launched our new business called Crack the Wealth Code. It's a coaching firm that centers around business development, entrepreneurship, mindset, and wealth building. And so her and I, our values aligned. We were encouraged to think about different ideas, and we came up with this awesome program, and we just launched. So that's one thing. My other thing is to keep writing. I'm an author, as you know, of 3 books, and one of which I am honored to be your colleague author, going number 1 on Amazon, and I'm gonna keep doing that. That's another source of income. Actually, it's doing pretty good. The books, they're actually doing pretty good. And then, of course, my speakership, because I think that storytelling is so powerful, and it changes lives, and it impacts lives. And of course, in this multifamily space, storytelling is so important for sure, because you definitely do invest with people you like, know, and trust.
Wow. Yep. Yes, and more yeses. So Shirley, if somebody wants to get in touch with you to talk about your coaching program, or collaborating with you on a book, or any of these other things that you have going on, how can they find you?
Absolutely. Well, you can find me at Instagram at I am Shirley Baez. Same for Facebook, and then of course on LinkedIn as Shirley Baez.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Shirley, for sharing your story, and I'll see you in about a month and a half or so.
Yes, you will.
For the book launch of Rewire 2. So anybody who's listening, I'm hoping this episode will air right around the time that we launch the book. So it's going to be launched the second week of March, and we both write out a chapter on a topic that we feel is relevant for the audience. So wanted to thank all of our viewers and listeners. And we'll see you next time. Ciao.
Bye.
Jacqueline and Melvin, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to listen to this episode of Get Diversified. Please make sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss out on future episodes. Finally, stop by our website and follow us on social media. Ciao for now. Make it a great day, and we'll see you next time. And remember, get diversified.